Hi guys, Scotty here with another DBZ Dokkan battle video for you. In this video, we're going to be looking how you can easily clear Stage 4 of the Ultimate Red Zone Pure Saiyans Edition, and mainly with the Gifted Warriors category team. So for this mission, you need to make sure that you bring 6 Gifted Warriors category units. Now this fight is going to be quite tough, so I've provided the team that I used, as well as a second team that you can try run if you can't make the first team. First team doesn't really have any newer units, I want to say, but we do need to take the Int, Gohan, Goten, and Trunks unit as a friend lead that is desperately needed for that team, so just make sure you get that and try get one that has equips and is hopefully rainbow, because that is going to help. They're going to be the majority of our damage, so you do want that. So let's take a look at the boss quickly. We're going to have a 3-phase fight here. First, base phase, Cabba is going to be disabling attack and defense reduction, as well as granting immunity to being stunned. So he can be sealed, and he is not that difficult of a boss. You'll slowly get through the first phase. Like I said, it is 3 phases, and it ramps up quite significantly. What you want to do is make sure you get Int, Goten, Trunks, and Gohan on a rotation, get them in slot 1, and they are going to be doing the majority of your damage there. Like I said, make sure you give him a rainbow orb every single time so that he's defensively strong, and save his active for the 3rd phase. That is when we're going to pop off into a huge amount of damage, so we kill Cabba fast enough that he doesn't build up and do stupid amounts of damage to you. So save pretty much all the actives if you can, and I would try to hold off using any of your support items until much later on. I'll talk about that in the 2nd phase when we get there, when you should be using your support items, but definitely not until right at the end of phase 2 or at the beginning of phase 3, depending on how well you do. So this team that I've used here does have a little bit of dodge or die in it. It is going to have a bit of RNG going on in here, and we'll start covering them now. So for your 2nd rotation, you ideally want LR Tech Gotenks on the first slot. He is going to be really great for this, especially because he is going to be facing down Cabba's supers, which are all Ki Blast supers, so he gets a huge 777% defense buff against just a super, and then he's getting an additional 44% damage reduction, and he counters with ferocious power against Ki Blast supers. So really a great unit for this fight and to tank, and it only really becomes a problem much later on in the fight, and we'll talk about that when we get to phase 3. But pretty much you want the Int, Goten, Gohan, and Trunks to be linked up with the physical Goten and Trunks in the 1st rotation, and then your 2nd rotation is going to be LR Gotenks linked up with the AGL Goten and Trunks unit as well. The LR one, that'll be your ideal rotations, and then your floaters should be absolutely fine because they're going to be that Int and Tech, that Int, Goten, and the Tech Trunks, and they should be great because they should have 80% damage reduction, good enough defense, because on every rotation there's going to be a Trunks kid or a Goten kid, so they will fulfill their full passive and they'll get that. And then Int Gotenks is going to be fine. He'll go through his transformations, he'll get a good chance to dodge. He can get caught out a little bit at the beginning, but he hits that 70% chance to dodge with a 90% chance after evading, so he should just be dodging in that 3rd slot and doing a little bit of extra. So that is how the rotations are going to be set out, and that is going to be the 1st phase of the fight done. Let's get into the Super Saiyan Cabba. Okay, so Super Saiyan Cabba does start ramping things up quite a bit. We're going to be nullifying super attack ceiling effects, disabling attack and defense reduction, immunity to being stunned. He gets an attack plus 50% on the 2nd turn from the character's entry turn, and then he gets an attack plus 100% on the 4th turn from the character's entry turn. So you really do want to kill him as quickly as possible. But however, that being said, hold off on some actives if you can. We do kind of need to save those for the end, because that Cabba right at the end, Super Saiyan 2 Cabba, is just ridiculous. But we'll get there. So Super Saiyan Cabba is going to have 350 million health, and he is going to be putting out 3.2 million supers. Now remember, that will get boosted up on his 2nd turn by 50%, so that'll jump up to like 4.8 million, and then 100% on the 4th turn, so that will then go all the way up to 6.4 million, so he will be doing quite a bit of damage by his 4th turn. So We're going to try to do as much damage here as possible, but luckily we do have a lot of dodge units with some very high damage reduction units, and we kind of just need to tank it out and get a little bit lucky in phase 2 with some of our dodges. But as tempting as it is, don't transform into Gohan, Goten, and Trunks yet. They need to stay as Gohan for now. Keep giving him his rainbow orb so he gets extra defense. That is essential, and he should be dodging. He may take a little bit of damage. I think I did take a bit of damage here as well, but we should be fine, and this should carry you through phase 2. Now phase 2 can take a little bit longer. I'm going to fast forward just a little bit because now we have such an inflated health pool, and we haven't switched over to our actives yet, so we're not doing a huge amount of damage, but we should be ramping up. Also okay to go a little bit slower here because this does give Gotenks some time to transform finally into a Super Saiyan 3, which means we're pretty much going to be safe with his dodges then. Now getting to Super Saiyan Cabba here, I definitely would recommend swapping out, doing a reversible exchange from Int Gohan to Int Goten and Trunks, because with this many allies, this many youth allies on the team, he is going to have a 90% chance to dodge, so he should be guaranteed to be dodging. And at this point Gohan can pretty much no longer handle the heat. I wasn't paying attention here. I should have swapped him out long ago, to be honest, and you see I take 700,000 damage from Cabba there. So Gohan is pretty much not meant to be around this long. We should have swapped out on this youth team to Goten and Trunks, and they would have pretty much just dodged everything from that point onwards. But again, don't use their active, just get through here. And I would say if Cabba's 4th turn does roll around and you just have a little bit of damage left to do, and you are worried that you're going to die, it might just be worth popping a wheeze at that point, making sure you get to the final phase of Cabba, and then you'll still have another wheeze as well and one extra turn there. So it's not the end of the world, but if you can make it to the final phase with the dodge and getting a little bit lucky, then it's going to make final phase a lot easier to be sitting with with 2 wheezes left to do. So let's jump ahead to final phase Cabba, Super Saiyan 2. Okay, final phase, Super Saiyan 2 Cabba. He is going to nullify Super Attack Ceiling Effect. He's going to grant immunity to being stunned. He gets attack plus 15% with each attack received, defense plus 15% with each attack received, both of those up to only 150%. He performs a critical hit when launching a super attack, and he also disables attack reduction, so a lot of stuff to watch out for here. But basically, if you've made it to this point, you should hopefully have all your actives looking like this, so you can pop the Int Goten and Trunks active to do a huge amount of damage. You can pop the physical Goten and Trunks active as well, and that will give them a turn of guaranteed dodge. So basically your first 2 slots in this rotation are going to be guaranteed dodge. They're going to have almost guaranteed, it should be pretty much guaranteed dodge on Int Goten and Trunks, and then physical have guaranteed dodge as well for this turn with their active up. So this is just a free turn. Do need to maybe be a little bit worried about the unit in your 3rd slot there, so I was thinking maybe we need to pop a wheeze, but I just trusted in Gotenks, and he was able to dodge for us. He should be fully built up now, and 1 dodge nets him to 90% dodge chance, so he does have 70% chance to dodge, and he could get caught out, but he should be fine once he takes that first dodge, and then you'll see we just pretty much dodge everything, and this will be a huge, very, very high damage. I mean, 125 million from this unit, and they'll just do a super amount of attacks. So try give them as many orbs as possible. The more orbs you give them, the more super attacks they'll end up doing, and especially in this turn, it is so important. And yeah. So Super Saiyan 2 Cabba actually hits a little bit, fully built up Super Saiyan 2 Cabba hits a little bit less than Super Saiyan Cabba fully built up as well. I think it's about 1 million damage difference. The main problem with him is that he does crit, which ignores a percentage of your defense and your type advantage. So that crit can really, really mess you up. If he hits, especially with a super, it's going to be a big problem. But yeah, going at this pace, we've managed to build up everyone that we needed to, and we should be okay from this point. There's 1 or 2 units that need to dodge, and honestly, I'd probably just pop a wheeze after this particular turn. Didn't really want, even though we have 80% damage reduction on the Goten and Trunks, the Tech and Int ones, I didn't really want to test out what the 5 million super does to them. They should be fine. They actually should be fine. But anyway, nothing wrong with popping a Wheeze here to make sure we get the dub, as well as because LR Gotenks at this point would have lost his extra damage reduction, even though he will have it when he gets hit with a super, as well as his 777% defense. At this point, I wasn't going to play around with it. Definitely think I could have no itemed it here, but just wanted to get the win and one Wheeze when there's no mission to not use items. Never killed anyone. If you want to do an item, go for it though. Definitely doable with this team. Just need to get a little bit of luck and you should be absolutely fine. But yeah, that is pretty much it. All I have for you. I just leave you with a little bit of the rest of the run so you can see it end. But once you get to this point, you've pretty much either win by popping an item, and if you get unlucky, then hopefully the item will save you. Or if you know item running it, then you just purely relying on a couple of units and needing to dodge, otherwise they will pretty much die if they get hit. Some of these units can definitely tank it. Like I'm very confident that LR Tech Go Tanks could tank that super, very likely just raw. But then again, we are critting as well against us, so that is ignoring a good portion of our defense, which can be a problem. So I wouldn't also like to see what the LR AGL Go Tanks and Trunks unit looks like getting hit by a super that they don't dodge, although they have a very high chance to dodge. And that is the beauty of this youth team. Most of them just have a stupid high chance to dodge and are never going to get hit, outside of a couple unlucky instances where you just, unfortunately, that's just how it is with a team like this. You do need to dodge or die or pop an item and have 120% damage reduction like this unit, so they just do not care. But yeah, that is pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. I will check you guys in the next one. Cheers.